Morocco steps in again. King warns Nigeria over Igbo oppression. In a world where African leaders often stay silent about injustice, one voice, unexpected and royal, has broken the silence. Reports are spreading fast that the King of Morocco has taken interest in the plight of the Igbo people, demanding that Nnamdi Kanu be treated with dignity and that Nigeria must, quote, learn to deserve the Igbo citizens. Whether official or not, that statement has shaken conversations across Africa, because for the first time in years, a foreign monarch is being linked to one of the most sensitive issues in Nigeria, the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the deep wounds of Igbo marginalization. This afternoon, we unpack what Morocco's name in this story really means, and why this could mark a turning point in how Africa views Nigeria's internal politics. It began with whispers, a claim that royal advisors close to King Mohammed VI had expressed concern about human rights violations in parts of Africa, particularly Nigeria. Soon, bloggers and international observers began linking that to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. They pointed out that the Moroccan government has been quietly building strong diplomatic and economic ties with West Africa, and that it could use those channels to call for peace and inclusion. Whether officially said or not, the message struck a chord. If Morocco can recognize the Igbo struggle, why can't Nigeria recognize Igbo's value? Morocco's influence in Africa goes beyond tourism and trade. The kingdom has long positioned itself as a bridge between Africa and the Arab world, a nation respected for its diplomacy and the leadership of its monarch, King Mohammed VI. His words often carry moral weight across the continent. When he speaks, it is rarely for politics. It is usually about justice, peace and unity. That's why many Nigerians see even the rumor of Morocco's involvement as symbolic. It tells the world the Igbo question is no longer just Nigeria's issue. It is an African issue. For decades, the Igbos have cried out against exclusion in federal appointments, infrastructure, and political recognition. And now, the mere mention of Morocco's concern gives that cry an echo beyond Nigeria's borders. Predictably, official voices in Abuja dismissed the story as baseless. No statement from Morocco, no official diplomatic memo. But for ordinary Nigerians, especially in the southeast, it didn't matter because it felt like someone, somewhere, finally understood. On social media, hashtags like #Free Nnamdi Kanu and #Africa for Justice began trending again. Some said, if our leaders won't listen, maybe other African leaders will. In Onitsha, Oka, and Abakaliki, groups held small prayer meetings, thanking God that even foreign kings are now talking about the suffering of the Igbo. For them, Morocco's rumored intervention was a symbol of hope that Africa is beginning to hold itself accountable. To understand why this story matters, we must go back to the heart of it. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a man once seen as a radio host who became a movement, then a prisoner. His call for Biafra may divide opinions, but his detention without fair conclusion has become a mirror of Nigeria's deeper problem, a refusal to confront its own history. Since 1967, the Igbo people have lived with the shadow of a war that officially ended, but emotionally never did. Every time an Igbo voice is silenced, that old scar reopens. Every time development skips the east, that old pain grows louder. And when courts delay Nnamdi Kanu's case again and again, it sends one message: some voices are not meant to be heard. Morocco's symbolic call, real or rumored, simply ask Nigeria a question it has avoided for too long. When will justice stop depending on tribe? In the 1960s, when many African nations were fighting for independence, Morocco supported liberation movements across the continent, from Angola to South Africa. So, the idea that Morocco might speak up for a marginalized African group isn't strange at all. It is part of a pan-African legacy that believes an injury to one African is an injury to all. And that's why the story resonates far beyond Nigeria, in Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa. Analysts have begun discussing how Nigeria treats its minorities, asking if Africa's giant still deserves that title when one of its most industrious regions feels unwanted. The Igbo issue is now Africa's mirror, a test of whether African unity is real or just a slogan. Maybe Morocco never sent a formal letter. Maybe the king never made a public statement. But the very idea of his voice entering the conversation is powerful because it exposes something deeper, that the rest of Africa is now questioning Nigeria's silence. The call for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom has become more than a legal battle. It is a moral one. It's about whether Nigeria can forgive, reconcile, and truly become a country for all its citizens. If Morocco can even be rumored to care, what stops Nigeria's own leaders from doing the same? The world is watching, Africa is listening, and history is recording who stood for justice and who looked away. This is Chinick TV, where truth meets courage. Remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Do you think Morocco really intervened, or has Africa simply found its conscience?
And you wonder why God cost you people. Useless black people. You don't know what justice means? You have no idea what justice means. You don't know what justice means. Useless black African people. You don't even know what justice. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. I want to know the written law. Talk to me now. Show me the written law. Are you okay? Don't go close. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try it. Don't try it. Go ahead and say don't try that rubbish. Don't try that rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. Then why are we in the court of law? Why are we in the court of law, I ask? Nonsense. If you think Britain can ask you to jail me and you jail me, you are dreaming. You are dreaming. I'm telling you that you are dreaming.